So this Sophia Westfall one is pretty interesting. So this happened out of Berkeley, California, and I was listening to a bit of your interview with Ivory Hecker, which was great. And walk me through like what happened, like how you stumbled upon this person, because I the footage of you going to actually like what happens between you setting up an account and then the moment where you're like, okay, I'm actually getting out of my car to confront this person.
So we have this account that's a quote unquote 9-year-old online that one of our decoys, Nikki, plays as. And, I access all the decoy accounts. So, they may do most of the chatting. I may do most of the chatting. Usually they do. But, there's some predators that I focus on specifically where I do a lot of the chatting. And then Sophia was one of them because, of course, Sophia stuck out because Sophia looked the way she looked. And then going after a 1-year-old, we were just like, holy crap.
So
This is
Sophia is
definitely,
like a trans to my from my opinion, it's like, okay, this looks very much like a dude that's like barely trying to look like a woman, but we would in a PC way classify them as a trans person, a them, a whatever. But like,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, holy crap. I've never because that was the first time like a
Like put a
trans.
little effort
Yeah,
in. Yeah. Like
yeah, and then of course, being that it was a 9-year-old too, like we usually pose as 11. Not like that's any better, but just the fact that it was a 9-year-old is just like, oh, wow, that like pops out at you more, and
wow.
just how sick. And what really stuck out about Sophia is because before confronting Sophia, we found blog posts that I'm going to say he because I don't want to misgender him, but we found blog posts that he made of basically saying that 4 and 5-year-olds were curious about sex and should be learning about sex. And this is like, we're like, okay, this person needs to be caught like ASAP. So, of course, Sophia got very sexual with our decoys. We basically want to see their limit. So we typically say, oh, I got a sister who's 6, and that's always okay with them. And we're like, oh, well, we have another sister who's 1 years old. Then sometimes even the pedos going after a 6-year-old will be like, oh no, that's too young for me. But
And you're
so
like, oh, that's your line? Okay. Yeah.
yeah, no, they got to at least be in kindergarten. Before that's just they don't know what they're doing. But yeah, Sophia was like, this is the first time like with an infant where I've heard someone say it's never too young to learn. Like we've had people going after infants before, but just thinking that this 1-year-old can possibly comprehend and pick up on sexual activity, it was just sickening. And then she was messaging another decoy too. Um, ran by my friend in Germany, and last minute before the catch, I think maybe the day before, she sent that decoy child porn, and we're like, holy crap, this one needs to be caught like now, and we went ahead and did the catch.
Wow. So, yeah, this is just like it's hard to believe, but like these are some of the messages from between Sophia Westfall, and the decoy. Like, I mean, this is crazy. And you're actually, they're talking about how the I guess the original decoy said they had a was pretending to be 9, and then they
Right.
pretended that you had a 6 and 1-year-old siblings. So clearly you can see from these messages like this person is like very sick and just talking like boldly talking about what they want to do, and it's like I just can't believe this is even real.
Oh,
It's like
lots of this stuff.
it's like when you actually read these messages, it's I don't know, it's like you just feel like a presence of darkness. It's like, and sometimes it's easy to joke about this because it's like not in front of your face, like you just because you can't believe that it's actually real, and it's like, no, these messages are real. This is very serious. I give you so much credit for even working in this area, because it's like it's kind of scary. It's really scary that like people are capable of this.
Yeah, it's a very even still now I think, okay, well they're into this, but I don't think they'll ever do this. But every time I'm just wrong. Like evil has no limits, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, and it ties into the same stuff. Like, oh, our government would never do this to us. They'll never do that. No, evil has no limits, and I know that firsthand from these people. There's nothing that will stop evil. When someone's evil, they're like they don't have a line a lot of times.
So this is you getting out of your car. So you realized you were getting Sophia. I guess you were, pretending to be this 9-year-old, and you said basically like meet me at this park at this time.
Yes.
And they, you said, oh, did you actually say, oh, I'll bring my other siblings, or they were just going to try to meet you, the 9-year-old?
No. So the plan was, I believe, if I remember correctly. The plan was to meet the 9-year-old at the park. I forgot if we were going to bring the siblings or not, but the plan was end game was to end up in the apartment with the three siblings and do stuff with them.
Ugh, her apartment?
No, our apartment. She was going to
Oh,
walk over.
wow.
Yep.
And it's fucking crazy because, like, I mean, if you're not really looking for a predator, you would see this person and go, "Okay, this is just like a very unattractive, frumpy chick." And a normal person wouldn't think twice to see a frumpy looking chick with one, two, three kids walking around in a park. It's like, oh, this could look, you know, if you're not looking for that, you could think, oh, this is nothing out of the ordinary. So
Very
it could be a
true.
weird babysitter, it could be someone picking them up from school, a nanny or something.
Yep.
And so what is like, and you've obviously confronted these creeps before, but like is your heart like racing at this point because you know exactly where to go. You're like, this is go time. Like, I mean, you've done this before, and you're not like, I think it probably helps. Like, you seem like you're like a tall dude, and you're like, you're pretty.
Yeah.
It seems like you're pretty built, and I'm sure that helps because then it's not that you're there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's probably easier to confront these people when you're
Yes.
not like a small person.
Right, right. Like, yeah, there's no nervousness anymore. It's just, I still get like the rush though, especially with someone like Sophia, who is like, especially with like what I like to call the big fish, like people that are either really sick or people that have a lot to lose and are still doing this. I still get that adrenaline rush, confronting these people, and yeah, no, I was definitely very ready to go do this, and I'm pretty
Sorry
bummed
to
out it
hold
turned
you.
out the way it did.
So this is a
My name's
little bit.
Gordon. Pleasure to meet you.
Oh gosh.
Cameras are for your safety, okay?
So you say, "My name is Gordon. It's a pleasure to meet you," and then they say, "No, it's not," right off the bat.
I got your messages here that I need to talk.
Hold on, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, so we were talking about that after, and we do think that Sophia probably knew who we were.
Do you think they wanted to get caught?
No, no,
No,
we had to
okay.
send a verification. We had to make it work. Like we had to send like quote unquote real photos. Like we had to show the 9-year-old outside the apartment, and no, we had to do a lot to get this
Whoa.
person to meet.
Okay, okay. So I have to play a little more. And it's
Yeah,
crazy because
I
this
do.
person is like pacing back and
All we
forth.
want to do
It
is have a
doesn't seem
conversation,
like,
okay?
and you're confronting
Yeah.
them,
No, I just have your
her,
message.
him,
All we want to
shim,
do is have
whatever, with the printed out, text messages. And it's interesting to watch. Like, this person isn't like running away. It's like they're just kind of pacing back and forth.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
They're probably just in shock.
yeah,
They, pr-
no, that's definitely what it is. Because I remember the photo that Sophia sent right before we pulled up. I mean, she was still wearing like her mask and everything, but she was smiling through it. You could tell she was so ready to just go molest these kids. And
Ugh.
I mean, yeah, I mean, she got, I know it's a she technically, but she got blue balled, and that's what it came from.
Oh my god. It's just like, wow. And so, I mean, you can't arrest this person. Your goal is to like, do you call the cops at this point? At this point in the, I guess, sting, you call it? Or now it seems like other people are watching. At one point, did somebody try to stick up for Sophia? Like, if someone doesn't know what's going on, like, oh, there's a frumpy chick and a guy that is talking to her, and she sounds in distress. This is Berkeley, California. I imagine you'd have Karens running to their aid.
Yeah, the people that go scream defund the police, then call them at the first sign of any distress going on. Yes, those type of people are everywhere here. And yeah, so we call the cops after we get a confession on camera. Typically we get confessions on camera, but
Really? They actually confess, like, to like, what do you say? Like, so, like, true or false, you were here to meet kids, and then they say yes?
oh, more than that, we get other victims. Like typically our videos are like close to an hour long. A lot of them are we have 2-hour videos. Like Sophia's video was an anomaly. Like it was definitely not a video that I was proud of, that's for sure.
Oof.
Yeah. So that's why we didn't call the cops. We didn't call the cops because we were basically waiting for her to have a conversation with us so I can get, the confirmation
Wow.
that these messages were sent. And,
Wow. And so how much I guess pushback are you getting from these people like these surrounding people watching. And I'm sure there are a couple people just curious, maybe videotaping
Sure.
themselves.
Yeah. There was a one white lady who identified as an elected official who,
Just
she
happened
was
to be there.
yeah, she was the one that called the cops on us, and I guarantee you she voted to defund the police. But
Mhm.
she was just had to step in white knight. You know how these people are, and it was just very very frustrating having to deal with someone like that. I mean, there were kids at the park, and I believe she was with her kids, and instead of like calling out this pedophile that's around her kids, she basically plays into the media narrative like, oh, big white guy harassing poor trans person, and
Of
I guarantee
course.
that's what she was thinking.
Of course, it's the message. Yeah, like she's definitely the victim, even though she was literally about to do pedo things.
Uh-huh.
So you're trying to acknowledge her. This video goes on. You're just kind of pacing back and forth. They kind of stop. You're kind of,
have to talk about this? Why is that?
I
Is
don't
there a
want to
reason
talk
for
to you
that?
because I'm a fucking creep.
Okay, that's fine. I don't have a reason to. I don't have to have a reason to keep following you then. Only on your phone right now. Talk. Okay. Okay. Cool. So much
Like,
for
why
equality,
wouldn't
right?
they just go home at this point? Like, why?
Can't share words.
I just, I'm shocked why this person is still in the vicinity.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a shock. It's them thinking that if
Hmm.
they talk, like they'll be out of trouble. Like it happens all the time with people.
Okay. So this person right now is thinking if I run, I'm screwed. But if I stay here and be like, what are you talking about? That they'll be safe.
Yeah, what was going through Sophia's mind, I'm not really sure because
Yeah.
it's not like she was choosing anything. It was
Yes,
weird.
this is a sick person. Yeah.
Right.
That's not what happened.
So then the cops come and you kind of, so what I found was so interesting about Ivory's video that she did with you. So the cops ultimately let this person go.
Right.
And then Ivory herself called in to the Berkeley Police Department, and the cops actually claimed like from what it sounded like, they made it sound like nobody from your side or the predator poacher side was like, you know, following up. They claimed that nobody went on record from your side, and the phone call very much sounded like, well, we did all we could do, and they should have called us earlier, and like we as the cops don't have any hard evidence, so they were basically saying like there's nothing we can do. And it's like, dude, you did, but you have all this evidence, you did all this work. Like, yeah, you guys aren't cops, but to me it just seemed like they just didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah, there was more than hard evidence. They had a more than probable cause to make an arrest and much less detain and take the phone of Sophia. And we actually did follow up. I attempted to call them in July saying, hey, I want to follow up with this case and make sure everything's turned in and get in touch. And they put me on hold, and I heard some waiting music and the phone just hung up on me. And I was just waiting for like 10 minutes and, then it just hung up on me. So then that's when basically Twitter went crazy when we posted this video a few days ago. And now Berkeley suddenly, when I called them yesterday to follow up for a second time, they knew about what was going on. They're like, yeah, we'll get you with a detective in 1 second. And lo and behold, we're with a detective, and now everything's turned in.
And when was this video shot?
This video was shot on June 7th.
So June, okay, so this is like more than 2 months ago. Why did it take so much time? Just because they weren't answering you back at all, the police department?
No, we do so many of these. So, I always take out days out of the month where, because we do like, gosh, we probably do like 20 to 25 a month, sometimes.
Like
And
stings like this, you do 20 to 25?
oh, we
Like,
post videos all the time. So I always take a day like, okay, which ones are not turned in still, or which ones I need to follow up on. So I take that time to like go down a list. I'm like, okay, I got to turn in evidence for this one. I got to call this detective for this one.
wow.
Because I'm basically one guy dealing with dealing with all of these at once, and I have my girlfriend help me out too, so that's a huge help. But yeah, so I attempted to follow up in July about this, make sure everything's turned in or see what I got to do, and I just got hung up on. So.
And do you think it's the worst kind of in areas like Berkeley? Is in your experience, has it been, have you been treated the worst? Basically, it just seems like they're dismissing you because they don't want to deal with it, because I think these cops are afraid that they will lose their job if they go anywhere near like a they them. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. put it this way: we have an arrest in Cheyenne, Wyoming, before our hometown of Houston, Texas. So that should tell you everything about Democrat-run George Soros cities.
Wow. Okay. And what are some cities or places where you have had like, a better reception from the cops basically when trying to catch these people?
The best place in Texas, that's a big city to do this, is definitely Amarillo. Amarillo, we're 2 for 2 when it comes to arrests. And
Wow.
then, the small towns in Texas are always great. Like we got a guy sentenced to 20 years a couple weeks ago in Upshur County, Texas. His name was Thomas Murrell. And then another big city that's good with arrests is Huntsville, Alabama. And then, surprisingly, Oregon's good with arrests. Oregon typically arrests on the spot, and so does upstate New York.
Wow, right, because the cops at Berkeley were saying, like, well, we didn't have any evidence, like we didn't have anybody's phone, so we couldn't do anything about it.
Right. So one, they obviously didn't take Sophia's phone. Two, they could have just asked for my phone. I would have given it. I mean, I have phones all over the country right now that are in police's possession.
Right, and you were saying to Ivory that you've handed over MacBooks, like your laptops to people. It's like you're going through like a lot of equipment there. You have to have like a lot of backups when you're doing this kind of work.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine like any of this pays, you know what I mean? Like no one's paying you to do this. It's crazy that you can, I mean, you're probably supporting yourself with other things and
No, it's a living. People support us, and
oh wow.
people like the videos. We have a very good support base that they see the work we put in. They see that we have an arrest in 33 states, and they support us accordingly. And I really appreciate them for that.
Wow, it's just amazing. Like I never thought that this is something like just a regular average person could do. Like really make a difference and catch people who do this. So this is still footage of I'm going to skip this a little bit. So here the cops are talking to Sophia. What do you think do you think they're actually asking her anything at this point? I mean, like they let her go.
They're probably saying, "Hey, we're going to transfer this case to ADL and the ACLU right now in the Southern
Yeah.
Poverty Law Center." But yeah, I don't know.
Look,
Yeah,
Sophia, go to the mall, get yourself some better clothes.
yeah. I mean, I really don't know what they could be saying, especially. I mean, they asked her, "Did you send the messages?" And I assume Sophia said yes. And typically,
Wow.
they would take the phone and say, "We'll be in touch with you." But
They're just straight up letting her go.
yeah,
And
exactly.
do you think they got any contact info from her to try to have her back in for questioning? Oh, so now they're talking to you at this point. So what are they saying to you here?
They're saying you should have kept 6 feet. You're killing her literally right
Are
now.
you
But
kidding me?
no.
They're using the okay, the
So
COVID
he was
19.
saying right there, they did take Sophia's ID, by the way. Sophia isn't the person's real name because them haven't switched over yet, truly. So
Okay.
whatever. So they wouldn't tell me the real name, obviously. But
Mm.
he basically said, "Hey, here's a link for evidence to upload." And we left the next day. It was like a 24-hour link, so that's why I had to follow up saying, "Hey, I couldn't I just didn't have the time to get everything together and do that because I was just on my phone on that trip." But yeah, and of course, none of the raw footage was anywhere yet besides the camera. But yeah, no. But as for reaching out to me like they claimed, no, nobody reached out to me from there. I had to be proactive and call them.
Wow. What do you think these police departments should change? Like from your work in this area, like what do you think are easy fixes that could be done so that it would be make it easier to like report these predators and get them arrested quicker?
Well, I know in Berkeley, all they had to do was enforce the law
Hmm.
because we had arrests earlier that trip in California that were for way less. Yeah, still sexual to a kid, but not to where you're just like trying to vomit about what's being said. And all they had to do was enforce the law. And I would say in Houston, what they could do is, since we're so libtarded over here, we actually have a law in Houston that cops cannot make an arrest on the spot. They have to call a prosecutor and get their permission to press charges on the spot. So, for example, say Huntsville, Alabama, the cops come and make an arrest. See you later. But in Houston, say they came to a predator, they'd have to get in touch with the prosecutor and see if the prosecutor would want to press charges. And at that point, the predator could just leave or whatever. And prosecutor in Houston will say, who's this guy? So
Wow. Um, how how many people are kind of like helping you work on this. And it just seems crazy to me. It's like, how do you figure out how to sound like a 9-year-old? You know, it's like, and I mean, you must be pretty good if people aren't like, hey, you know, like, you know, you're getting these people to meet you. It's just kind of
Yeah.
an interesting thing to have to like learn how to do.
No, we have girls that help us out, that can, you know, make their voice sound like basically sound like yours and go down to like a kid's voice. And we have two young looking decoys. Their names are Ashley and Aubrey, who, you know, if the light's pretty dim, they can definitely pass off as 13 or 11 or something like that. But it's very hard to video call as a 9-year-old because that's just too dang young. But like 13, we could definitely pull off with them. But yeah, no, we have a lot of help. And, you know, when it comes to typing, there's really you don't need to convince anybody to be a predator. If you like kids, you like kids. So all we basically say is one word responses or just one line responses, and they do all the talking. It's very easy.
Man, oh my god. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right, love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right, love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Love you, get it. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.